Have you ever wondered whether you're taking your blood pressure pills at the right time? It might seem like a small, almost insignificant detail, but the truth is that choosing the wrong hour can silently, steadily affect your health. We're not talking about something you notice right away, like a headache or a fever, but rather about subtle changes that build up day after day until, one day, your heart, your kidneys, or your brain say, "Enough." The thing is, although most doctors prescribe blood pressure medications, not all of them clearly explain when the best time is to take them. Some say morning, others recommend night, and many patients are left wondering, does the schedule really matter, or is it all the same as long as you take the pill every day? Throughout this video, we're going to answer that question with real evidence. I'll show you what the most recent medical studies say, what researchers have discovered about blood pressure rhythms over the course of the day, and what clinical experience reveals about different types of patients. This isn't about scaring you or saying you've been doing it wrong all this time. It's about giving you clear, useful information so that, together with your doctor, you can make the best decision for your health. Because a small change in the timing of your medication could make a big difference in how you feel each day, in your energy, your rest, and above all, your risk of serious complications. So stay until the end, because the real answer may surprise you. And before we continue, I want to get to know you. Tell me in the comments, what time do you take your blood pressure medication, and where are you watching from? Your experience can help others who are in the same situation. Why does pill timing matter? When we talk about blood pressure, we can't think of it as a fixed number that always stays the same. Our body runs on a biological rhythm called the circadian rhythm, which regulates processes like sleep, temperature, hormone production, and of course, blood pressure. This rhythm means blood pressure isn't the same over the 24 hours of the day. In most people, blood pressure tends to be higher in the morning, right after waking up, because the body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to wake us up and prepare us for the day's activities. As the afternoon progresses and night arrives, pressure normally tends to drop, allowing the heart and blood vessels to rest. However, in some people, the opposite happens. Their pressure doesn't go down enough at night or even increases while they sleep. This phenomenon is called nocturnal hypertension, and it is directly associated with a higher risk of heart attacks and strokes and damage to vital organs. To illustrate how important this is, let's think of two patients. The first is Joseph, who at 70 years old always takes his blood pressure pill at 7 in the morning as soon as he gets up. Joseph feels well because his pressure tends to rise in those first hours of the day, and the medication helps control those peaks. In contrast, we have Mary, 68 years old, who also used to take it in the morning, but she still suffered nighttime dizziness, and her doctor found that her pressure stayed high at night. When she switched her pill to bedtime, her readings improved and her rest was much more restorative. These examples show that timing isn't a simple detail. It can make the difference between effectively controlling blood pressure or keeping it off balance without realizing it. Taking medication at an unsuitable time can have silent consequences: a higher risk of pressure spikes, lower effectiveness of the drug, and greater chances of damage to the heart, kidneys, or brain. The conclusion is clear. Pill timing does matter, a lot. It's not only about remembering to take it every day, but about doing so at the moment that benefits your body the most. That's why, in this video, we're going to explore together how this really works and what the best time is depending on your particular case. How blood pressure behaves throughout the day. Blood pressure isn't static. Our body follows a natural rhythm that changes with the hours, as if we had an internal clock regulating each function. In the morning, especially in the first hours after waking, blood pressure usually rises. This happens because the body releases hormones that help us activate, get going, and face the day with energy. It's a normal response. The heart beats more strongly, and the blood vessels tense a bit more to ensure enough oxygen and blood reach every part of the body. Throughout the afternoon, this level tends to stabilize, and when night comes, under normal conditions, pressure goes down. That nighttime drop is vital. It lets the heart rest, the arteries relax, and the body repair itself. However, not everyone follows this pattern. In some cases, pressure doesn't go down at night, or it can even rise, which is a sign of higher cardiovascular risk. To understand it better, think of two different lifestyles. Peter, 69 years old, is an early riser. He gets up before dawn, eats breakfast early, and starts his activities with energy. His pressure rises a lot in the morning and needs medication to act during those critical hours. In his case, taking the pill in the morning helps keep those peaks under control. On the other hand, we have Carmen, 72 years old, who keeps a more nocturnal rhythm. She likes to stay up late watching television or reading. Although she wakes later, her pressure doesn't go down properly at night, and sometimes she gets dizzy when she should be resting. For her, taking the medication at night helps reduce that nocturnal hypertension and protects her organs while she sleeps. These examples show that each person's body responds differently. Ignoring the natural rhythms of blood pressure can have important consequences. If the medication is taken at a time that doesn't coincide with the pressure peak, its effectiveness may be lower. That means that even if the daily dose is taken, the drug isn't acting when it's most needed. And that mismatch can translate into more fatigue, worse rest, or, in the worst case, a higher risk of serious complications like a heart attack or a stroke. That's why understanding how pressure behaves throughout the day isn't just a technical detail. It's the basis for understanding why timing can make the difference between a controlled, healthy life and a path full of hidden risks. What traditional doctors say. For many years, the most common recommendation among doctors has been to take the blood pressure pill in the morning. This guidance is based on two main reasons. The first is that, at the start of the day, pressure naturally tends to rise as part of the circadian rhythm. Taking the medication in those early hours helps the body have the protection it needs during the day when we face activities, stress, and constant movement. The second reason is simplicity. Most patients remember their medication better when they tie it to an established routine. Wake up, have breakfast, brush your teeth, and right after, take the pill. That association with morning habits increases adherence to treatment. For many doctors, making sure the patient doesn't forget the dose is more important than the exact time, and they know morning is when people are least likely to miss it. The perceived benefit of this approach is clear: greater consistency. And consistency in hypertension treatment is crucial because the effects don't depend on a single dose, but on a balance built day after day. A patient who faithfully takes the pill every morning will probably have more stable results than someone who tries to take it at night but often forgets. Let's imagine Richard, a 71-year-old man. His doctor recommended taking his pill every morning upon waking. Richard gets up, turns on the coffee maker, and always sets his glass of water and his pill next to his breakfast. That small ritual has become a solid habit that doesn't interrupt his day. He never forgets his dose, and his pressure stays controlled most of the time. Cases like Richard's are why many doctors maintain this traditional recommendation, not because they're ignoring more recent studies, but because they know their patient's reality. The hardest part isn't deciding between morning or night. The hardest part is remembering to do it every single day without fail. However, as we'll see later, new studies have opened the door to a different debate, because what used to seem sufficient may not be the most appropriate for everyone. What recent scientific studies reveal. In recent years, various investigations have begun questioning the idea that morning is always the best time to take blood pressure medication. Some large clinical studies have shown that, for certain patients, shifting the dose toward night offers significant benefits. The most important finding is that, by taking the pill at night, the medication acts during sleeping hours, when many people experience what's known as nocturnal hypertension. This happens when pressure doesn't drop as it should during sleep, or even rises in the early morning. Nocturnal hypertension is dangerous because it often goes unnoticed, since it isn't captured by a typical daytime home monitor. However, it is closely linked to a higher risk of heart attacks, strokes, and kidney damage. The results of these investigations suggest that those who move their dose to night have a lower chance of suffering serious cardiovascular events. By keeping pressure controlled while the body rests, the strain on the heart and arteries is reduced at a critical moment. In addition, the nighttime decrease helps organs recover and extends protection into the first hours of the morning, which are precisely the most dangerous for hypertensive patients. Let's imagine the case of Teresa, 70 years old. For years, she took her pill at 8 in the morning, as her first doctor instructed. Her checkups showed improvement, but she still woke with headaches and dizziness. A specialist suggested switching the dose to night. At first, she hesitated, but after a few weeks, she noticed the difference. Her mornings were lighter, her sleep deeper, and her nighttime pressure, which had stayed high, finally normalized. Teresa isn't an isolated case. More and more patients are discovering that night can be the most effective time for the medication to act, especially if their body fails to lower pressure during sleep. This doesn't mean night is better for everyone, but it does make clear that the answer isn't universal. The conclusion is that science is showing us a more nuanced path. It's no longer just about taking the pill upon waking because it's easier to remember. Today, we know that in many cases, the real benefit lies in adjusting the schedule to each person's natural rhythm. And that adjustment can make the difference between living with a silent risk or enjoying full protection over the 24 hours of the day. The truth, there isn't only one answer. After hearing what traditional doctors recommend and what recent studies suggest, it's normal to ask, so what's the right answer? Should I take the pill in the morning or at night? The truth is, there isn't a single answer that works for all patients. The right time depends on 3 key factors: the type of patient, the type of medication, and each person's lifestyle. Not all bodies work the same way. Some people have very high blood pressure upon waking, and in that case, a morning dose may be the best option. Others, however, suffer from nocturnal hypertension, and for them, taking the pill at night can offer the protection they need. The same medication can act differently in each body, and that difference can't be predicted without an individual medical evaluation. In addition, not all blood pressure drugs are the same. There are short-acting medications that last only a few hours, and others that are long-acting and protect throughout the day. Short-acting ones are often given in the morning to avoid forgetfulness and to ensure their effect during the hours of greatest activity. In contrast, extended-release drugs can be used to better advantage at night since they keep levels steady during the early morning and the beginning of the next day. Lifestyle also comes into play. A person who gets up early, has stable routines, and goes to bed early might benefit more from a morning dose. On the other hand, someone who tends to stay up late, experiences elevated pressure at night, or tends to forget things at the end of the day might find more advantages in taking the pill at bedtime. That's why it's so important not to be guided only by what worked for a neighbor, a friend, or even a close relative. Every case is unique. The key is working hand in hand with the doctor to analyze each patient's pressure pattern and how they respond to medication. Sometimes specialists even recommend 24-hour monitoring with a special device that measures pressure at different times of day and night. That information makes it possible to discover whether there's nocturnal hypertension, morning hypertension, or a constant problem. The conclusion is clear. Neither morning nor night is the real answer on its own. The real answer lies in personalization. The safest, most effective approach is to adjust timing to individual needs, considering the drug type, lifestyle, and the body's response. That's the only way to ensure the medication fulfills its purpose, protecting the health of the heart, the brain, and the entire circulatory system across the 24 hours of the day. Factors that make morning better. There are circumstances in which taking medication in the morning turns out to be the most convenient option. The first has to do with memory. Many older adults easily forget whether they've taken the pill or not. Including medication in the morning routine right after getting up and before breakfast greatly reduces that risk. Wake up, brush your teeth, make coffee, and take the pill. It becomes a simple ritual to follow. Another factor is the type of medication. There are short-acting drugs designed to work for only a few hours, and if they're taken at night, their effect may wear off during the day, when pressure tends to be higher. For that reason, many doctors prefer to indicate them in the morning, ensuring the patient is protected during the time of greatest physical and emotional activity. Also, for those with a stable routine and defined wake and meal times, morning is the safest moment to maintain adherence to treatment. It's easier to remember the pill at the start of the day than at the end, when fatigue or sleepiness can lead to forgetfulness. Think of Helen. 75 years old. Her doctor recommended taking the medication at bedtime, but she found that many nights she went to bed unsure whether she had taken the pill or not. More than once, she got up in the middle of the night with doubts, afraid she had doubled the dose. Finally, after discussing it, they switched the schedule to morning, and she hasn't forgotten it since. Now her pressure is controlled, and she feels at peace knowing her routine works. Factors that make night better. There are also situations in which taking medication at night is the wisest decision. Some patients present nocturnal hypertension, that is, their pressure doesn't drop during sleep, or it even rises in the early morning. In these cases, a morning schedule leaves them unprotected precisely when they need it most. Long-acting drugs are often best used at night. These medications release their effect slowly and steadily, protecting the body while it rests and extending their action into the next morning. This helps prevent pressure from being elevated in the first hours of the day, when the risk of heart attacks and strokes is highest. A clear example is Manuel, 70 years old. For years he took his pill at dawn, but despite that, his readings were high in the early morning. His cardiologist explained that this was why he woke with headaches and palpitations. After moving the medication to night, Manuel experienced a notable change. His mornings stopped being heavy, his pressure stabilized during sleep, and his cardiovascular risk decreased. Nighttime is especially advisable for those who, despite sticking to treatment, still have uncontrolled pressure in medical records. It's a reminder that the best schedule depends on each person and their own pressure pattern. Common mistakes when taking blood pressure pills. Beyond time of day, many patients make mistakes that reduce the treatment's effectiveness or even put their health at risk. One of the most frequent is taking the pill together with alcohol or coffee. Both substances can interfere with the drug's action and trigger adverse effects. Another mistake is skipping a dose and, upon remembering, doubling it to make up for it. This can cause dangerous drops in pressure and intense dizziness. It's also common to forget it entirely or to take it at different times each day, which prevents the body from settling into a stable pattern. Hypertension requires discipline, and a lack of regularity weakens the protection the medication provides. An illustrative case is Rose, who took her pill with breakfast, but usually paired it with very strong coffee. Over time, she began feeling palpitations and thought the drug was harming her. In reality, it was the interaction with caffeine that amplified the effects. Another example is Louis, who often forgot his afternoon dose and, when he remembered, took 2 pills at once. He ended up so dizzy that he had to go to the emergency room. These mistakes, although common, can be avoided with simple measures. Take the pill at the same time every day with a glass of water without alcohol or stimulants, and never double the dose without medical advice. Consistency and prudence are just as important as timing. Signs you're taking the pill at the wrong time. One of the biggest challenges in hypertension treatment is telling whether the symptoms that appear come from the medication itself or from the timing of the dose. Many times, it isn't the pill that's wrong, but the moment it's taken. The most frequent signs are dizziness upon waking or when getting out of bed, extreme daytime fatigue, or insomnia at night. If the drug is taken too late, it can cause blood pressure to drop too much in the early morning, leading to a feeling of instability and morning sleepiness. Conversely, if it's taken too early and its action wears off before night, pressure can rise precisely when the body should be resting, causing trouble falling asleep or awakenings with palpitations. To tell whether it's a side effect of the drug or a bad schedule, consistency is key. Adverse effects tend to appear every day regardless of the time of the dose. Problems related to timing, however, show up at specific moments. Dizziness always upon getting up, or constant insomnia at bedtime. That pattern is the clue that helps identify the real cause. In these cases, you shouldn't stop the medication on your own. The right course is to record the symptoms and discuss them with your doctor, who can decide whether changing the timing is enough or whether the treatment itself needs adjustment. Many times, the solution lies in a simple change of routine. Practical tips for choosing your best time. The first practical tool is to keep a blood pressure log at home. A reliable digital monitor lets you note values upon waking, at midday, and before bed. By doing this for several weeks, you can identify whether pressure rises more in the morning or at night, and thus know when it's best for the medication to act. The second tip is to keep a symptom diary. Writing down when dizziness, headaches, fatigue, or insomnia appear helps relate them to the timing of the pill. This record turns subjective experience into useful data your doctor can interpret. The third step is to share all this information at your appointment. Doctors often don't have data about what happens outside the office, and these records can be decisive for personalizing treatment. With concrete evidence in hand, the specialist can recommend the safest, most effective schedule. In short, the best timing isn't discovered through improvised trial and error, but through observation, discipline, and medical support. That combination ensures the pill works in the most beneficial way for each person. Frequently asked patient questions. One of the most common doubts is, what happens if one day I take the pill in the morning and another day at night? Ideally, you should always keep the same time because regularity ensures the medication works continuously. Switching from one day to the next creates pressure swings that can be dangerous. Another question is whether it's better to take it with food or on an empty stomach. This depends on the specific drug, but in general, it's recommended to take it with a little food, or at least with enough water, to avoid stomach irritation. Your doctor or the medication guide is the safest reference for this decision. A frequent doubt is what to do if you forget a dose. The general rule is not to double it to make up for it. If you notice the omission a few hours after the usual time, you can take it as soon as you remember. But if almost the whole day has passed, it's best to wait for the next dose and consult your doctor. These questions reflect normal patient concerns, and having clarity about them helps you live your treatment with more safety and confidence. After everything we've seen, it's clear there isn't a single universal schedule for all hypertensive patients. Morning has its advantages, night does too, and in each case the answer depends on individual factors like the type of medication, lifestyle, and above all, the body's particular response. The main message is hopeful. The most important thing isn't choosing morning or night at random, but doing it consistently and always with guidance from a health professional. Daily discipline and medical follow-up are the true keys to reducing risks and protecting life. Before we say goodbye, I want to invite you to participate. Write in the comments which tip helped you most today. And if you found this content useful, give it a like and subscribe so more people can discover the real answer about their medication. Remember, the time can make the difference, but your daily discipline and self-care are what will truly save your life.